Let's talk about buyer-broker representation and how a realtor earns compensation for their services to protect and negotiate the best terms for you, the buyer. It used to be that more often than not, the compensation for a buyer's agent was paid by the seller. Now, regulations have changed, and the responsibility to pay for buyer representation, the agent who represents and protects you, falls on you, the buyer. As realtors, we help you negotiate the best possible price and terms that work for you. We know you value your realtor for protecting your best interest. Our service fee should never be part of the negotiations of your home. That is why we will negotiate our service fee for your buyer representation before showing any home. We don't want to mix our fee into the negotiation of your next real estate investment. After all, it always has been a cost of doing business. Real estate commissions have always been negotiable. On occasion, Milli Cannata and her team will charge a flat fee to cover her cost of doing business. Unfortunately, the recent changes may leave some buyers who often, with not have much more to lose, in an extremely vulnerable position, noting not all agents can afford to work for less than what it costs to keep their lights on. Realtors could charge an hourly service fee similar to attorneys and doctors. However, most buyers have to take time before they decide on the one. If you are not ready to buy a home immediately, you could find you pay more if you pay hourly versus a percentage or a flat fee. At the end of the day, the buyer has always brought the money to the table, no matter which way we negotiated it. Our goal as your trusted realtor and expert negotiator is to assure you are comfortable with the bottom line once everything is said and done with the final investigations and negotiations. You'll have to sign an agreement before any buyer's agent in the U.S. can work with you. That agreement will always say that the buyer is ultimately responsible for paying the buyer agent commission, not the seller. The good news is, realtors are the only people crazy enough to work for free until you decide to buy a home. That is because we are loyal and dedicated to seeing you succeed in your real estate investments. What has changed is we are now required to negotiate our service fees upfront and sign a contract to commit our time to work together to help you get to where you want to go with your real estate investment goals. It is a good thing. Now we will also secure a formal commitment from our buyers, just as we always have with sellers. That said, the seller can still pay concessions and the cost to cover the work incurred when an unrepresented buyer makes an offer. Concessions can be a set dollar amount or a percentage covering closing costs, repairs, service fees, etc. Mortgage lenders have a set limit on the percentage a seller can credit in concessions to a buyer. Just like every property is different, every offer and transaction depends on variables that come into play during one transaction. The recently updated California residential listing agreement no longer allows the listing agent to negotiate the amount the seller is willing to pay a buyer's broker. However, the seller can indicate how much they are willing to pay for an unrepresented buyer and/or any concessions. Some sellers may be inclined to increase the price of their property by a certain percentage to offset the potential of a buyer making an offer that includes concessions to cover their closing costs. The listing agent will no longer have an option in the MLS to indicate what the seller is willing to pay. It is notable that if a listing agent conveys to a buyer or an agent what a seller is willing to pay, may not be working in the best interest of the seller. A quality listing agent will not be at liberty to tell the buyer or an agent how much the seller is willing to pay, leaving it up to a strong buyer representation and expert at negotiation to make sure you don't give away your money. An experienced realtor will help you gauge the market to ensure you negotiate the best possible price for your next real estate investment. The new regulation does not say that the seller can't pay the buyer representation fee. It simply states the buyer's broker is to negotiate this fee upfront with their buyer. This prevents any confusion when negotiating with the seller once your offer has already been accepted. Many sellers understand offering a concession to offset the buyer's closing costs will allow more exposure. The more exposure assures the seller didn't leave any money on the table. However, the buyers have always dictated the market. If a seller prices their home too high, it will take longer to sell. That is an opportunity for buyers to negotiate, although the sellers will always have control, and ultimately they can decide to wait to secure a buyer willing to pay their price or decide to not sell the home at all. You can choose to write an offer on a home where the seller offers a percentage towards a concession to cover the buyer's closing costs. Or you can choose not to write an offer on a home if the seller is unwilling to negotiate concessions or a price that fits your bottom line. That service fee realtors can seem like a big chunk, but the majority of their commission goes towards their expenses to operate their business as a business. So you are wondering, is your realtor really worth it? If you choose the right broker to represent you, it definitely is. Sellers' agents are just that. They are there to represent the seller. You want someone that is working on your behalf, to protect you from what you don't know, to consider that may turn into a costly problem you didn't budget for. Milli Cannata and her team specialize in complex real estate transactions. Believe us when we tell you our team knows all too well how people can easily find themselves in failed real investment. The truth be told, most sellers do not list their home for sale because they want to. Most sellers have a reason to sell and a time frame to get to where they want to go. A quality buyer's representative will help you determine the real reason for the seller's motivation to help you create the best offer with the strongest terms, reducing the chances of your offer being countered or rejected. Most experts agree that buyers who go it alone often end up paying more for a house because they don't have the negotiation skills or market knowledge that an agent does. They might also miss out on finding the best home for themselves because they don't have access to all the listings and information that an agent has. Many homes are sold before they go on the market. You may not see these homes have sold if you do not search the tax records when you are reviewing comps to make an offer on your dream home, leading you to potentially miss the mark when you are shooting in the dark. Not only that, but buyers who don't have a real estate expert in their court can end up with dozens of legal headaches and unexpected costs you don't know to be considerate of. For example, if you see a property priced $100,000 less than other homes in the area, that may be a big red flag that it needs major repairs, like a failed septic or limited water or use potential. When buyers decide to represent themselves in a real estate transaction without the expertise of a buyer's agent, they might think they're saving money. Remember, the listing agent will now be able to negotiate a service fee that the seller will pay for the additional paperwork to be completed to protect their seller. However, the listing agent will create a conflict of interest if it comes to representing you. The listing agent's first oath in contract law is to their seller. The fee they collect for an unrepresented buyer is specifically to cover the admin costs, to furnish the buyer with paperwork that needs to be signed. That is it. They will not be legally able to interpret the documents and are obligated to request you seek legal advice if you have questions about the forms, inspections, and disclosures they furnish to you, leaving the buyer with little representation and increased costs, while the listing agent reaps the fee pre-negotiated to be paid by the seller. Some listing agents are advertising they will charge a listing fee and charge no fee to the buyer. Be aware that they may be encouraging you to write the highest and best offer, knowing if you are not represented, they will be able to pocket the additional fee. That fee is negotiable and may take away from what you were able to negotiate down on the price. How would you know there was money left on the table as the unrepresented buyer? In the world of real estate, it is always about who is the best negotiator. Other countries like England have already experienced this transition in real estate many years ago. Today, the buyers in England are predominantly left unrepresented. They have to call each listing agent to access each property, even if the other home is next door. Once they finally find a home and their offer is accepted, the buyer has to secure an attorney who generally will take over 4 months to gather paperwork to assure once again that the seller, the listing agent, and the attorney are all protected in the process. Meanwhile, during that entire time, the listing agent is at liberty to continue to show and market the home for sale to other buyers willing to pay a higher price. The listing agent, the master negotiator, is obligated to negotiate higher offers with another buyer while you wait nearly half a year to find out if you are actually buying a house, or eventually, if you got overbid. Talk about nerve-wracking. In America, realtors are specifically designed to protect you from unscrupulous business practices and your biggest, most valuable investment, your real estate. Real estate is a big business. If certain people had it their way, they would own it all and tax every penny to your name to rent it back to you. When you consider the overall financial investment and potential liability involved, it's a false savings, especially when you don't know all the areas you can inadvertently give away your money during one transaction. Remember, in most cases, the listing agent does not have your best interest at heart. There is no way to fairly represent both sides knowing each party's bottom line. Dual agency does happen on a rare occasion. However, it is one of the #1 reasons for lawsuits, along with non-disclosure claims due to the seller not being as forthcoming when detailing all the problems with their home. Partnering with a quality buyer representative makes a huge difference when it comes to building longer-term wealth through real estate investing. You don't want a discount agent who is essentially just working as a professional door opener and paper pusher sending DocuSign with documents they can't even interpret for you or assure are completed so they protect you. You need someone hands-on, invested full-time, with a strong track record of horror stories to share. Our job is to highlight any of the worst-case scenarios you don't know to consider that may limit your ability to use the property as you intended to. For example, according to the National Association of Realtors, homes sold directly by owners, known as for sale by owner, tend to sell for an average of $95,000 less than sellers who use a professional realtor. That's nearly $100,000 left on the table that could have been reinvested to buy an additional investment property in an opportunity zone somewhere else. So, if having professional representation can make that much difference to a seller, think about how much it could benefit you as a buyer, even if you're the one paying your agent's commission. And you know what? Your agent doesn't get paid at all until they've succeeded in getting you into the home you want. Like we said, realtors are the only ones so dedicated to helping you achieve your goals. We literally work for free until one day you decide to buy a house. Some buyers purchase within the first 90 days of meeting with their agent. However, the majority of buyers take a long time to narrow down their goals and where they want to go. Some of our clients have worked with our team for 8 years before they bought and sold a home. Here's what a great broker does for you. First, they guide you toward the right home. This means we start by connecting you to reputable mortgage loan officers, so you understand what you can afford and the different lending options to fit your short and long-term goals. You have many options, and you must take the time to explore which options are best for your bottom line. You don't want to waste your time looking at Mercedes if a Kia is all you truly qualify for. Sometimes you prefer to save for the Mercedes before you decide to leap. A quality realtor can help you consider rates of appreciation to assist you in determining if it is better to buy now to reap the rewards of increased appreciation while you wait for the forever home to be more accessible to you. Our team will help you consider different liabilities you may face and provide valuable resources to make sure you have more money in your pocket at the end of the day. A great broker will also help you get a clear understanding of what you need, your priorities, and also what you'd love to have in a home. They can help you identify opportunity zones and different ways you can build wealth through real estate. For example, did you know if you make one extra mortgage payment to the principal of your loan each year, you can reduce the term by nearly 7 years and save thousands in interest? The must-haves and the nice-to-haves. That is the real question. Before taking you on tours, your realtor will research different neighborhoods and homes to find you great matches. They'll guide you to detailed information on things like school scores, crime rates, traffic patterns, and local amenities. They will also warn you about failed septic, low production wells, and high water tables. Before you ever step in the car, you'll know exactly what you're looking at and that it fits what you're looking for. Then, once you find a home you like, they'll research the current market and market trends even further, and they'll talk to the seller's agent about the seller's priorities and hot buttons. At this point is an opportunity where sometimes listing agents give away their clients' money and divulge how much the seller may be willing to pay toward concessions. The better the reputation your agent has, the more skills they carry to help you find out as much about the seller to help you negotiate the best possible price and terms for your new real estate investment. All of this is to help you write an offer that will be attractive to the seller at a price you can afford with terms you want, or to help you decide whether to make an offer at all. Your agent will present your offer and begin the negotiation process. A great agent will be a terrific collaborative negotiator with the experience and expertise to know how to compromise and create a deal that both you and the seller are happy with. Unfortunately, the new changes could leave many buyers unrepresented. However, rest assured, once you negotiate your realtor's service fee, we can all go back to focusing on representing you as the buyer, just as we always have. Once you complete investigations on the property, your buyer's agent will be able to negotiate things like rent backs, potential maintenance issues, and closing costs. Your agent will negotiate the right price and terms and make sure you're comfortable with the bottom line. Inspections are a crucial step in this two-part negotiation process. This allows you to research potential problems and determine if the cost to remedy the concerns exceeds the amount you are willing to invest. They will negotiate credits and additional items on your behalf that the seller will pay for instead of you. The seller's agent wants to protect the seller and get them the most money and best terms. That is the listing agent's job, to market and negotiate the highest possible price for the seller. As a buyer's agent, their job is to negotiate the best possible price based on all the information and investigations of the property. Their goal is to see you succeed in your real estate investment, so not only do you work with them in the future, but you refer your friends and family. Again, you can remind them that we are so dedicated and loyal to your goals. We will continue to work for free until we can help you and your family get to where you want to go. It's like a friendly boxing match between the listing agent and your agent. Don't think any of this is an easy process. We just make it seem that way since we work the business every day. Trust us when we say not one home is the same. Once your offer is accepted, your agent then manages all the people and processes to unearth any issues and finalize the deal. They'll recommend and refer you to secure inspections like roof and pest inspections, plus any special inspections needed like pool or septic, and point out any issues you may not know to be concerned with. A big one these days is some homes cannot be used for short-term rentals depending on the zoning and septic type. If your home doesn't have a permitted or conforming septic, you may not be able to secure the permit to use the home as you initially intended, later costing you thousands you didn't expect to lose. Your realtor will also coordinate the appraisals and discuss the results with you. They'll order and review the title report and point out any red flags. They'll keep on top of lenders and help you provide whatever documentation is necessary. If the state or situation calls for it, they'll coordinate with attorneys or refer you to a quality agent in areas where they don't sell real estate. Yes, your realtor can help you buy not just locally, but we can assist you to purchase across the nation or the globe. They'll review the seller's disclosures and point out any potential problems, then help you to tactfully negotiate a resolution to those issues. Your realtor will connect you with home insurance companies and home warranty providers to further assist you as you decide which provider is the best option for your situation. Your agent will manage all of these people and processes to keep your escrow on track, and they'll communicate regularly so you know exactly what's happening. We are the ultimate project managers, pros at the juggling act of completing timely tasks to help you prevent a breach of contract that could cost you your dream home. Our job is also to make sure that you are protected from any legal liability. Yes, your agent will spend literally hundreds of hours, much of it behind the scenes, working on your behalf to assure you are 100% perfect through the process and during your time in the home. And it's only when they succeed in checking off each task successfully and you have the keys to your dream home that your realtor finally gets paid. Meanwhile, behind the scenes, they still have a business to run, and often other families they employ who they have to pay, no matter if you buy or sell a property. Again, per this buyer representation compensation agreement, you as the buyer are contractually responsible for paying the buyer representation service fee, although your agent will negotiate the best possible price and terms for the property. That is our overall goal. Now, based on all your realtor does for you, don't you think our fee is worth it? After all, in the end, we want to make sure you have more money in your pocket when your investment pays off. We count on doing such a great job that you will gladly call us to help you do it over and over again. Not one home sold makes a career. As your realtor, my ultimate goal is to be in your real estate life forever. If you have any questions about the new regulations in real estate or about buying or selling a property, Milli Cannata and her team are happy to help. We are not high-pressure salespeople. Milli and her team understand it can take years before you are ready to proceed. In the meantime, follow us on socials to stay up to date, or feel free to schedule a quick chat. We look forward to helping you own your dreams.